Hey everyone, Silver here, back with another Silver Speaks session. Today I wanted to talk about a bit of a touchy subject with certain groups of people. And that would be the subject of false accusations. There are some people that believe you should always believe a person coming out, or at least a woman coming out with accusations, regardless whether they show proof or not. I know this is a very touchy subject with a lot of people. In the anime community right now, this is a big deal as well. There are people thinking there are false accusations against a certain voice actor, and I'm not taking sides on that matter. I am waiting for proof on both sides, whether it to be true or not. I'm not taking sides right now. I have my own personal opinions on the matter, but that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is more about just false accusations in its entirety. And to be honest, you don't always believe the woman. I believe physical evidence. The reason being is I honestly have been a victim of false accusations at one point. I'm not gonna go into the story right now, but when I was in high school, I was falsely accused of something, and I just blatantly said, no, that's not true. And there were a lot of people that immediately believed the girl who was falsely accusing me. Tons of people immediately believed her. And through a lot of evidence that was said by multiple people, she wasn't believed on the matter against me anyways. And it didn't really hurt my reputation, because I'm the kind of guy who, you can judge me however you want, but you're gonna be either right or wrong. Really. If you're right, I'll say you're right. I don't beat around the bush. I don't really lie to people. I don't beat around the bush when I'm accused of something. I'll tell you straight up if I did something or not, if you ask. Now, if you don't ask, I'm probably not gonna just blurt it out in a conversation. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not the kind of guy that just blurts it out. But if you ask me about it, yeah, sure, I'll tell you what it is. Like, if you ask me about that specific situation, like, oh, this person said this about you, like, you did this. What do you have to say for that? Like, why would you do that? And I just say, no, I didn't do that. Whoever said that's lying, and I don't really care. And I go about my business. And the nonchalant way I say it, a lot of times makes people immediately believe me as well, which is a bad thing. You don't immediately believe somebody even if they say, oh, hey, that's not true, in a nonchalant tone. But with me, I am typically the person people go to really find the truth. Like, if you want to know something, I'll generally tell you. I'm not gonna beat around the bush about it. But false accusations themselves, they happen a lot. And honestly, I feel strongly that the Me Too movement was a good thing. It is a good thing. People actually coming out about their stories that are very hard to talk about. I have a similar story, and I am not even going to go into that on any video, honestly. I don't feel like going into it, but I have a story similar to that as well. And I don't really feel comfortable talking about that to a large audience. To anybody, but it's it's one of those things that, with the good of the Me Too movement, there's still bad in it. There's people that take advantage of it and basically falsely accuse people, ruining their careers, ruining their jobs, ruining their standing in a certain light, and they do it on purpose to further their own agenda, essentially. Some people do it to further themselves, and they don't have to provide evidence because, oh, you're a woman? We should believe you no matter what. And I can understand there not being evidence, then I'm going to very lightly I'm not going to straight up not believe you because there is no evidence to or against it. If I were trying to get the truth, I would go to both sides, see exactly what happened, see what evidence they both have to show me as to if it happened or not. But there's people that use this against people they don't like. They falsely accuse people of things just to improve themselves, essentially. They try to improve their own situation with it, and ruining somebody in the process, or trying to ruin somebody. And honestly, that is the sickest, most vile tactic of anybody. And if you do that or have ever done that, I'm not going to see you in any kind of good light, and I probably will avoid talking to you. I'm the kind of person that doesn't like people who do that. And you would think most other people would be the same way. You would think most people would be like, hey, I need evidence to see if it's true, if they were really trying to get to the truth. I can understand if it is your friend and they're like, oh, this happened to me and I really need help to know what to do. You have to, even if it's your friend, you do have to ask them, if they come out with it like that, you have to ask them what proof they do have. Even if it is your friend, I know it would hurt them if it was true. It would probably hurt them to talk about it, but they might eventually talk about it. You don't just come up being straight like, oh, I don't believe you. Can I see some proof that it happened? You approach the topic lightly, saying stuff like, oh, that's extremely, that's bad. But I honestly have to see what happened. Can you give me your story and show me exactly what happened? Because I need to know what to do so we can either press charges or go about this in a way that is civil, essentially. You don't approach it with the essence of, oh no, I don't believe you, I need to see evidence. You approach it with the sense of, I'm very curious as to see if it is true. I don't necessarily not believe you, but I do need to know exactly what happened so I can ascertain whether it's true or false. And with that, a lot of people I've seen, especially on the internet, they believe anything they see or hear on the internet, which in itself is another big problem with the internet. And they immediately believe people without proof on whether it's true or not. And when people are asked to show proof, they say, I don't need proof, you should just believe me. Which, when somebody says that, I start to feign in the direction of not believing them. Which, again, that goes to the Vic Mignogna voice actor case. Again, big in anime. It's a big deal in anime culture right now. I myself, again, I'm not taking sides, because neither Vic nor the chick who said it about him has really provided evidence to shed light on it. I think Vic might have at one point said, no, that's not true, I didn't do that, or no, I was not there at that point, at that time. But I can't remember. I try to stay away from depressing issues, while watching videos or playing games or watching TV or anything. I try not to dwell on dark things. Again, one of the reasons I don't watch TV a lot is because the news in itself is generally dark. You don't see much good news nowadays, but that's another story for another day. I myself I do believe if something like that has happened to you, you should come out, but you should be able to provide evidence backing your accusation. If you don't back your accusation, the person you're accusing could sue you in court legally for slander and defamation of character. And if they win, you're out tons of money generally. And it's just, to me, it's just sick when people do it falsely. False accusations themselves, to me, are a sick and twisted way of trying to ruin somebody. If you want to ruin somebody, prove that you're better than them by getting better than them. You don't have to be like, oh, hey, I'm better than you, to their face. Just essentially make them look up to you rather than you're looking up to them, being envious and wanting to be better. You don't have to falsely accuse somebody. And if you have that low of standards that you're willing to falsely accuse somebody of a serious issue just to further yourself, that in itself is just sick. You would be a sick individual who doesn't deserve the time of day to me. I would not even give you the time of day if you're that kind of person. I keep my friends group small, a very close-knit group of friends. I don't venture out and just gain tons of friends, but never have some that I can be close to. I gain a small group of very close friends that I know, or I know most likely, are not going to turn around and just talk bad about me to other people. And if they do, I don't care. That's their problem. If they have a problem with me, that's their problem. That in itself is, again, another issue. I don't really care what people think about me. You think one way or another. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what anybody else thinks about me. I am me. That's why I do the things I do. I let my actions be how people should see me. I don't let my, if I do an action that even I feel is wrong, I feel like I would deserve people to look down on me. But if I'm doing my best, trying my hardest to do everything that I can for the people around me, even strangers that I don't know, then I feel like, yeah, I did a good thing. And I don't just go blabbing on about it. But again, the people that falsely accuse people of serious issues, if you're one of those people, I think you're one of the scums of the earth, and you're what's making the world a worse place. That's a very harsh way to put it, but it's true. I really don't care for you if you're the kind of person who would falsely accuse somebody of a serious crime. But they do happen. They honestly happen. And there's people that genuinely think it doesn't happen. There's people that genuinely think anything like that doesn't happen. False accusations? That's not true. That's not an issue that we have anywhere. Like, that's not an issue. If it wasn't an issue, then why would it be brought up? If it wasn't an issue, why would people be talking about it? If it wasn't an issue, if it didn't happen, then why is it brought up? And that is my point. If it's brought up, even by a single person, that in itself is an issue. Like, when I was in high school, again, I did say I was falsely accused of something by a girl. There's tons of what I would call white knights. I call them white knights. That's a bad term, honestly. I don't like using it. But there are people that were coming to her defense and immediately consoling her. Even though I was none the wiser. Like, that day in itself, I guess I could tell the story. This video is only 16 minutes so far. When I was in high school, I was dating this one girl. And I was... it was about a week-long relationship. It was the week of a concert, or series of concerts, over in the area I live. And me and my parents were really close with one of the concert venues, the owner of one of the concert venues. He always sold us like backstage passes and stuff for very cheap. And I met her at the concerts, and we got her backstage passes. We all got backstage passes, and we were going backstage. We were having fun. And honestly, it's bad, but this is the girl I had my first kiss with. Yeah, high school. Had my first kiss in high school. I don't care. It was the girl I had my first kiss with. I honestly wish I didn't, because after that week, things began to slow down, and nearing the end of the week, there was I had gotten her a little bear, okay? I'd gotten her a bear. It was actually the beginning of the school day. I gave it to her. One of her friends came up, which later became one of my good friends at the time. One of her friends came up after I gave her the bear and said, hey, she just wants to stay friends. She doesn't want to date you anymore. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And I just went about my day like normal. I was very fond of rejection. I knew it well. So I wasn't too shooken up by it. But later that day, some people came up to me. Some of these people I called white knights earlier. One of them came up to me and grabbed me by my shirt and was like, hey, did you break up with this girl? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And he was like, well, she was crying earlier talking about how you broke up with her. And I was like, well, that's completely not true. She broke up with me this morning, and I even gave her a teddy bear. So, could you let go of my shirt, or I'm not gonna be happy? And he looked at me and just saw the dead look I gave him in my eye. I guess, I'm part Native American, and they're known for the intensity of emotion in their eye. And honestly, at that point I was mad, but I never raised my voice to him. I kept it low. I kept it exactly how I am talking to y'all right now. I kept it low, and I was like, I guess I had eyes of anger, and he knew if he held me for any longer, it wasn't gonna be good for him. And he put me down, and he was like, I'm gonna go talk to her about this. And then, her, caught in her lie, she was like, oh, yeah, he was actually really nice, and I broke up with him through one of my friends. I told him to talk to him. And that same guy, the same white knight, came, like, later on, he came to me and apologized. And he was like, yeah, she's done the same thing to me. She's a bit of that type of girl. And I was like, yeah, well, if she's done it to you, what would it matter? Like, why would you come up to me about it? It's not like you didn't have your heart broken at one point because of it. You know what I mean? I mean, people can bond through being falsely accused, but it's not a ideal situation. My false accusation story isn't like I was falsely accused of a serious crime. I was just falsely accused of breaking up with a girl and making her sad. But that would have caused a fight between me and this guy if I had. And he was bigger than me, but with me lifted up like that, it wouldn't have been a good situation for his crotch. If you know what I'm saying. My foot was in prime position. I am only 5'8", by the way. I'm very proud of my height because I'm the same height as Cloud Strife. Fuck anybody who says I'm short. I'm Cloud Strife's height. And he would not have been happy had he made me any angrier by lifting me up anymore. He would not have been happy, and he probably would have been on the ground because at that time I was wearing big boots. And yeah, he would not have been good. But there's other people that get their careers and their jobs and their lives generally ruined by false accusations that turn out later to not be true. But false accusations follow you. Those false accusations of serious crimes, they honestly follow you. Because if you knew somebody who did something that serious, would you not tell somebody about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, would you not spread it around that he was that type of guy that did that to warn people? Because that's generally what happens. And then people who hear that are like, oh, well, I don't want that. I don't want to be around that person. And then they spread it to other people who also don't want to be around that kind of person. And then that eventually makes them not able to be hired by most places. Even if they're even cleared in court that it's not true, said by the accuser themselves that, yes, I made it up. They are completely innocent. That still affects their career. They can't get the same kind of jobs they were in. Like, there's a very few cases of people that aren't generally affected by it. But most people can never get a good job like they probably had before again. And some people just straight up believe the chick, it never goes to court, and the guy's life is ruined forever. And it's just sick. It's honestly sick and twisted that people do that. And people allow it to happen. Like, people allow it. They don't ask for evidence when somebody is like, hey, this happened to me. I know it's a touchy subject about that kind of thing, but at least if somebody you know is going through that or says they're going through that, essentially help them, you know, through it. And if they're showing signs of it not even affecting them, like, that's when you have to start questioning it and being like, okay, I'm really starting to question it now. And you essentially have to get them to trust you enough to tell you the whole story and show you what evidence they have. And if the evidence doesn't match the story, or she tells you one story one time and tells you another story a different time, it's more likely that they're not telling the truth. And you have to be the kind of person who basically calls them out on their bullshit. Because, sorry about that. Because I have been through a similar experience like that, and many people that have, almost everybody that has been through something like that serious thing that I'm not gonna say the word, I'm pretty sure that's a word that gets you demonetized pretty heavily. Not like I get any money off of these videos, but it's one of those serious crimes that people commit. And even I have had something similar happen to me, which they say doesn't happen. It does. Fuck you if he says it doesn't happen. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that out loud. Because a lot of people that say it doesn't happen to men are women, and I generally hold true to the rule to not hit women. I don't. I've never hit a woman, except my sister, but when I do, it's not like, oh, with the intent to hurt her. I'll like punch her in the arm when she's being a dick. But other than that, anybody who's went through something that traumatic remembers every aspect down to a T. They can retell the story hundreds of times and it be the exact same. They might use different words, but it's the exact same story. So anybody who changes their story constantly, you'll hear 3 or 4 different versions of the same story. That's generally cause for concern that they're not telling you the truth. That's not what happened. So, I guess in summation, don't be stupid and immediately believe somebody with that kind of accusation. I mean, don't be straight and be like, I don't believe you. Comfort them, and if they're showing the signs that it has traumatized them and that they're legitimately affected by it, gain their trust and get them to tell you the full story so you can see what you can do, whether in court or civilly, how to help the person get some kind of resolution. That's really all I can say on false accusations. False accusations are bad. Accusing somebody of something that is true isn't bad. It's not, but you do legally have to have evidence to back it up. So that's the reason I screenshot everything I do, everything I say, so nobody can be like, hey, this is what you said. Did you say this? I'll just pull up something on my phone and be like, no, I didn't say that at all. That person's lying, and you're kind of an idiot for believing them. Because people like that lie about that, they deserve to be put in their place. Because if they do it once, it's not like it's a one deal. I only did it once. It's not that bad. They're most likely gonna do it again. Like, if somebody, just saying, cheats while they're in a relationship, they come back after you find out, and they're like, oh, please, please, I'll never do it again, take me back. If you take them back, that's on you if they do it again. But if they never do it again, that's good, that person changed for the better. But if they do it, if you take them back, and they do it again, that's generally the sign that they're not gonna stop doing it. So you don't never take them back if you happen to take them back and they do it a second time. I myself heavily hate cheaters, so if I find out somebody was cheating on me, I completely dump them and never really talk to them again, because that's the kind of guy I am. I don't believe you're gonna change, and if I'm not enough for you, find somebody else that is enough for you, or find multiple people that's enough for you, because then it's not my problem. You do what you want to do at that point. But yeah, it's a very, I know it's a very hot issue. Stuff like that is very sensitive to talk about. And I'm sorry if this video rubs some people the wrong way, but I honestly don't care. I make videos because I want to make videos. I don't make them to monetize. I have them monetized, but I don't get enough views to make any money on them. So, there's that. But, again, that's really all I have to say on false accusations, in that they are bad, completely. And not to immediately believe people as soon as they accuse somebody of something. Well, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you like the video, subscribe, hit like, leave a comment of what kind of thing you want me to do next. I forgot to do an outro, so I'm doing one now. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.